Colleen Lillian ran into me. I smiled at her as she looked like a crazed ape, making barbaric movements. Everyone stared at her for a moment, before going back to doing what they were doing. "What is it?" I questioned the crazed girl in front of me. "Don't pretend as if you've forgotten. I know you know," she said, smiling cunningly. I thought for a moment, but nothing came to mind. "No, I don't," I confirmed, opening my locker. She groaned in annoyance. "The day after tomorrow, ring any bells?" she questioned, anxiously waiting for my answer. "Would you just tell me?" "I suck at guessing, as you can already tell," I said honestly. "Yes, I suck at guessing, because I find it very unnecessary." "Thank you." "It's your birthday," she screamed loudly in excitement, echoing in the hallways. Again, everyone stopped and looked at her. My mouth hung open at her. How could someone be so loud? I shut my locker, walking away from my best friend. Well, I wouldn't stand there after that scene. "Hey," she came up to my side. "Some friend you are?" she said, clearly upset. "I'm sorry, Lily. But you know how much I hate attention, and you don't seem to understand that." I laughed. She smiled at me, nodding. "You need to get used to it. You're my best friend. To think you would be used to it already." She started, then continued to some sentence about food. Rambling on, we entered the math class, taking our seats. The teacher walked in and instantly began the work. "What do you wish for your birthday?" she questioned me, clearly bored of the lesson. "I don't know," I said to her. Lily gaped at me in horror. "How can you not know what you want? That's an insult to my face." I laughed at her idiocy. "There's no time for me to think about birthdays. I need to work after school, and not only that, I need to keep my grades up for the scholarship I was given last year. I'm not rich, if you ask me. Not at all. I work hard to get what I want. And to do that, I have no time for fun and games. Come on, Colleen. For once in your life, act interested. Please. For your best friend," she nagged, distracting me. Yeah, I flipped her off. She celebrated quietly and smiled giddily. All through the lesson, making me roll my eyes. Typical high school idiot. When the day ended, I hurriedly grabbed my bag and rushed out the school gates to reach the bus stop. When I got there, I gave my ticket and walked to the back. The ride felt long and short at the same time. I stopped in front of the mansion belonging to the Alpha and his sister. I rushed in through the doors and walked to the kitchen, where Mary, the cook, stirred a pot. "Hello, Mary." I panted from the marathon I ran. "Hello." "Colleen, dear, you're quite early. You can start with your chores now," she said. "I work as a maid to the Alpha. To the werewolf community, I am an Omega. But to myself, I'm a normal wolf." I grabbed the apron and broom and began sweeping. After 3 hours of cleaning the entire mansion from head to toe, it was time for me to head home. I grabbed my school bag from the kitchen and took off the apron, hanging it. I walked out the kitchen into the living room, bumping into the Alpha. "Sorry, Alpha. Forgive me." I apologized. And to be honest, this is the first time I've come face to face with the Alpha himself. I usually run into Helen, his sister, but never him. He simply ignored walking off. Ass. He may be my Alpha, but the attitude he is portraying is really rude and jerky. I shook my head, running out of the mansion door to the bus stop. I got in through the apartment door. "I'm home." "Mom," I said, as I walked into her bedroom. My mother was bedridden, due to an illness we've never seen before, and going to hospital was expensive and difficult. "What about my father?" "Well, he rejected my mom a few years ago, and left." Mom looked at me with dull eyes and a small smile. "Welcome back, baby girl," she croaked, making me smile. Hearing that sentence every day is like me breathing. I can't live without it. My mom. I walked to my room after a short chat with my mother. I closed the door, dropping my bag in the floor. Feeling tired, I lied down upon my bed. I look at the ceiling, my heart clenching. I'm not sure if I'm depressed about what's happening with my life. I mean, I'm not sad, but not exactly happy either. I can laugh. joke and smile during the day. But sometimes when I'm alone, I forget how to feel. Why, a knock on my door had woken me up. I sat up, before sleepily saying a faint come in. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you, Colleen. Happy birthday to you. Lillian came in singing. I couldn't help but smile. Although my mom isn't well, she's always by my side, through good and bad. She's my best friend. Ah, thank you, I said to her, hugging her. You deserve it. She smiled, hugging me back. We sat there for a moment. Okay, come on. We're going out. We have to get you ready for tonight, she said, confusing me. What's happening tonight? I questioned her. Your birthday party, of course. And you can't say no. Because I've been working on it for days now, she said. And who knows? You'll probably find your mate, she screeched. I smiled. Finding my mate would be a dream come true. But I don't want to hope too much. You never know what kind of mate you could get. But hopefully my mate will love and cherish me. Forever and always. Okay. We can go. But wait, I need to shower and tend to Mom, I said, laughing. I don't know why, but I feel quite happy today. I got out of bed as Lillian said she had work to do. I jumped into the shower under the hot running water. When I was done showering and dressing, I walked into Mom's room with a bowl of food, ready to feed her. I sat by her side as I shook her awake lightly. Her eyes fluttered open as she smiled towards me. Happy birthday. Angel, she smiled. Those words had such an effect on me that I myself couldn't help but cry all the time. No matter how bad things got with her, she always told me she loved me, wished me happy birthday, and gave me pet names. Thank you, Mom, I said gratefully. It's breakfast, Mom. You need to eat. Please, I said. I helped her to sit up, and then I slowly blew on the food, making it cool enough for her to eat. After I finished with Mom, I gave her medicine and told her I was going out. She simply said, be careful and have a nice party. I smiled, walking out of her room. A knock echoed through the house as I collected my purse. I walked to the door. And Lillian stood outside anxiously and impatiently. Ready, okay, let's go. She pulled my arm, not giving me a chance to answer. We got to her car and I buckled my seatbelt. She drove off into the streets towards my worst enemy, the mall. It had been 2 hours since we got here and I had bought enough. My feet were aching and a headache was coming along. Can we go now? I questioned my shopaholic friend. Yes. Yes, we're done now. Quit your whining. We got to the car and we drove off to my house. Lillian pulled into the driveway. You need to sleep enough and then in 3 hours get ready. I'll pick you up at 6. How does that sound? She asked me. I nodded in acceptance and I walked inside my house, shutting the door behind me. I walked up to Mom's room and shook her awake, asking if she needed anything. She simply asked for water and I had gave it to her. Once I was done there, I headed to my bedroom. I dropped the shopping bags onto the bedroom's wooden floor and dragged my feet to my bed, flopping into it. Wow. I can't believe I'm 18. I can find my mate, get a family and do things. Wow. I shifted a bit higher, getting to my pillow, and smiled. Looking at the ceiling, I began to wonder, what if my mate rejects me because they think bad of my mom? No. I won't let that happen. I'd choose my mom over my mate anyway, because she's been my life support, even now. No matter how sick she is, I continued to think and think and think, and my questions were getting to no end. Slowly, my eyes began to shut and open, not being able to keep them open. I finally fell asleep. Lean. Colleen, a voice screeched in my ear, making me groan. I glared at the culprit, none other than Lily. What I groaned, feeling tired. We're gonna be late. Wake up, she made my eyes widen. I fell asleep. I jumped out of bed and dragged my feet to the bathroom. I washed my face, fixed my makeup a bit. My dress looked fine. I brushed my teeth and sprayed my perfume. I walked out and Lily Wolf whistled at my appearance. I can tell you now. You look great, woo, she cheered. I smiled and hooked my arm with hers. We walked out the door. After I said farewell to my mother, She wished me luck and hoped I had a great time. I smiled as I walked out the house, locking the door behind me. 10 minutes later. Well, this is it. A party, note my sarcasm. We looked at the hall that blasted with music. I guess they started my own birthday party without me. What a pack. To be honest, not everyone liked me. They only pretended to like me because I was friends with Lily. We walked in and everyone shouted surprise, wow. At least they know whose birthday it is. I thanked them and Lily brought a cake before me. I blew out the candles and smiled. I hope to find my mate soon. I just hope. And alas, my prayers were answered. A beautiful mouth-watering scent caused my attention. Finally, it's him. My wolf kept stirring and howling in my head. And I just knew it was him. I walked through the crowded part and up the stairs of the venue, into a dark room. A low growl caught my attention. I've been waiting for you, the voice said. I gasped in shock as I came face to face with my mate. He was none other than the alpha of our pack. My alpha. You can't be. How I questioned. I'd rather be paired up with a rat than him. He is a player, and not only that, he is not mate-worthy. I guess the moon goddess paired us. Isn't that how he mocked me a little? Chuckling to himself. I refuse to be paired up with the likes of you, I spat. He grabbed my wrists and pinned me to the wall. Well, you're not rejecting me either, he says forcefully. He's right, though. Suddenly, a burning went through my body. It can't be. It's not possible. His eyes turned dark. It can't be. He pushed back, trying to control himself. What's happening, he questioned. Why are you in heat all of a sudden? Heat. A time when wolves are forced to mate with each other. Involuntarily. It's a painful yet pleasurable period. I don't know, I'd like to know myself. Suddenly, his lips were on mine and I couldn't control myself. The night continued in a blur of passion. Why was this happening? It felt intensely wrong, yet undeniably compelling, leading to a profound mistake I knew I would regret. Soon the sun woke me up as I stretched. I opened my eyes only to meet his face, the alpha's face. This can't be. I screamed so loudly, kicking him off the bed as well as kicking myself off. We landed with a thump on the ground. Shit, he groaned, looking at me. Soon his eyes overcame with horror. What the hell, last night shouldn't have happened, he said. I know. But it can't be changed, can it? I said to him. He looked so pale, but shook it off. I can't change last night, but I'll change right now. My eyes snapped up. I looked at him in shock. He wouldn't. I Alpha Reese Gold, of the Blue Moon Pack. Reject you. Colleen Daniel as my mate. I felt everything shatter. My heart, my hopes, my dreams, and mostly my mate. Why would you do that? I questioned him. You can't just sleep with someone, then throw them aside like trash, I yelled. But he smirked, but it wasn't quite reaching his eyes. But my dear, I just did. I can't accept an omega. A maid as my mate, and I won't accept someone like you as my mate. Never, he concluded. I don't know why. But right then tears brimmed out of my eyes, and it was as if I could hear them fall onto the ground. Why was this happening? I know I didn't want him to be my mate, but I would have given it a try. Once a player, always a player. I grabbed a pillow and threw it directly at his face with force. Pathetic. I know. But nothing could explain the pain I was going through. I put my clothes on quickly and turned to him while tears fell out of my eyes. Just drop dead and die. I can't believe the moon goddess would pair me up with such a jerk. See if care anymore, I talked, turning out of the room. And down the street home. Life is very unfair. We never should have met. I should have never had a mate. I should have been given happiness in spite of pain. Why was all this misfortune happening to me? I regret ever having this birthday. I sat on my bed. As the clock ticked. The birds hummed and the sun glowed through my bedroom window. It feels like I haven't slept in days. When truly all of this happened now. I can't explain how I'm feeling. Am I not capable of being a Luna? But that's not right. I wouldn't be paired up with an alpha unless I was fit enough. Right. But still, I can't help but have a little doubt in myself. I groaned in frustration, dropping onto the bed and my face into the pillow. Why? Why do all bad and painful things happen to me? Did I really do something wrong to deserve this? Not soon after. I began feeling a burning in my lower abdomen. Stupid piece of trash. He's already moving on. It felt as if someone was burning my skin and hitting me with whips while pricking needles into my skin. I closed my eyes and steadied my breath. I won't do what he's doing to me. I will actually not allow any male to come near me. All boys are the same. First my dad, then my ex-boyfriend, and now my mate. All boys are the same. Just people who play with your heart and step on it the moment you are useless to them. I got up, limping to the shower. That's it. I'm not going to sit by with this anymore, although it's been a few hours. I'm going to confront him and ask him why he'd do that. Was there something wrong with me? I slipped on a pair of dark jeans and a white shirt, tied my hair in a bun and walked out the house. I already checked in Mom and she's sleeping soundlessly. I walked outside the house and ran down the road to my workplace, the Alpha's house. I barged into the house and the helper greeted me. I smiled at her and questioned where the Alpha's office was. She just told me the usual place I clean. I ran up the stairs and barged in only to see Pain. I shouldn't have come. They snapped their eyes to mine, and he let out a ferocious growl. Right now I wanted to cry and cry really badly. My best friend was getting down and dirty with my mate. Why are you doing this? I questioned him. He looked angry but put on an innocent face. Doing what he questioned. That son of a cow. Colleen, why are you here? You kind of interrupted my time with my mate, she said. He's not your mate. He's mine, I said to her. Well, not completely. He did reject me. It just hurt to see the sight. No, he's not. Why would you say that, Colleen? She asked. I looked at her with teary eyes. You've got to believe me, Lily. He is. Last night he was the mate I was looking for. He was the one who took in. He took my virginity, I said as tears rolled out my eyes. Is that true? She questioned Alpha. He looked at her with his baby blue eyes. I was drunk, babe. And she seduced me. I didn't know what we were getting to until this morning. I swear. Lying piece of trash. How dare you take an oath, you lying piece of trash? Don't lie to her. Tell her the truth, I yelled at him. Lily looked so hurt she could break down and cry. She walked up to me with tears in her eyes and did the unexpected. My cheek stung, and my tears fell, alas. This was what was coming. She had slapped me. My own best friend did that. Why would you lie about my mate? You're Alpha, I treated you good and tried to make you happy, and now you wish to separate us due to your selfish reasons. You are such a person. You seduced my mate and slept with him. I shook my head. Why would you say all this? Why do you not trust me, the friend you had for years? Or would you trust the person you've just met? I asked her. I would never trust a selfish person like you, she yelled. I stepped back and smiled at her, as tears riled out of my eyes. That's it then. This is reality. I'm glad I learned about this. I'm glad I learned about everyone in our society. They're all the same. Judgmental. And never stand for the good. No matter how much they know they are. If this is what a friend is, I don't want it. If this is what a mate is, I don't want it. If this is how a relationship is, I don't want it. Because now I realized. Relationships are like a book. It takes years to write them and seconds to burn, and I don't want that. Not anymore. Thank you, Lily, for everything. I apologize, Alpha, for calling you my mate. I'm sorry, Pac, for being a disgrace. I'll take my leave now. I walked out the door and headed home. I don't want friends. They are just backstabbers. Now it's just going to be Mom and I. And that's it. I don't need anyone else. I don't. And I will never. I walked down the road. It was raining heavily. I stopped, looking up to the dark gray skies. I lost my path a while ago. Now I know not where I stand at the moment. Funny, right? The rain fell upon my face, as it covered the tears rolling out of my eyes. But that doesn't mean I couldn't feel them. Every tear was painful. After a while, I caught my direction again and headed home, as flashbacks from earlier came rushing back. Is this what pain feels like? Is this what it feels like to be rejected? I don't want it anymore. My keys jingled as I opened the door. I stepped in, soaking wet and cold. Shutting the door, I heard Mother's faint voice from the bedroom. I walked to her room, forcing a smile upon my face. I wouldn't want my mother to feel pain because of me, but I couldn't keep up my facade. She had already seen right through it the moment I stepped in the room. "Baby girl." "What's wrong?" she questioned in her calm, soothing voice. I smiled as tears rolled out my eyes. I didn't want to break down, but I couldn't hold it in. So that's what I did. I cried. I placed my face on her lap as I cried into it. My muffled cries quieted down, but the tears increased. Mom pat my head soothingly and hushed me. It felt nice, but I was in too much pain to realize. "Honey, what's the matter?" she asked, a glint of pain in her eyes. "Mama." He rejected me. He did it so badly I began crying again at my last words. "Who rejected you, honey?" Why, she asked in hurt. A lump made its way to my throat, and I was thirsty, and my heart kept clenching in pain. "My mate, Mama." He rejected me and said I seduced him. I didn't know Lily was mated to him at all. And he made it seem as if I did all this on purpose, I hiccuped. "And what's worse of all, Mama?" He took it. He took it away from me," I said, and broke down again. "Please don't be mad at me, Mama," I said as I took in her expression. "Oh, honey, I'm not mad, just disappointed. And that's not it. I'm angry at how such a person could ever exist. But no worries, baby. We have each other. We don't need anyone else," she said, and I agree. She's right. People are just the main cause of pain, the main cause of suffering, and I won't allow myself to suffer anymore. Now, what are you going to do about it? She questioned me. I looked at her, confused. About what I questioned in misunderstanding. "What are you going to do about your pregnancy?" she asked. "What pregnancy?" I questioned. "Oh, you don't know. You're pregnant." And I can hear the faint heartbeat. "Can't you right then?" I heard it. How could I have missed it? How could have I not felt it, Mom? "I don't want him to know. I don't want my baby to go through the same thing." I went trough. I pleaded. Mom lifted her frail hands shakily and touched my face. "Don't worry. You can just cover it up with perfume. But it will be hard to hide it forever. By the last 2 months of your pregnancy, I will send you away. And you will come back after the baby is born. Then we'll keep her hidden. Away from your mate, away from the bad people, if this world..." Mom promised. I nodded, and we spoke a little more, trying to make myself forget about today. After a few hours of talking, Mom fell asleep. And I went to my room and lied down, trying to get some rest. But all I could do was stare at the ceiling. I put my hand on my belly and let out a sigh. I thought about what would become if my baby and rest assured I asleep, listening to its faint and slow heartbeat. That brought me peace. I woke up with a little nausea today, and to be honest, it sucks big time. I brushed my teeth and took a quick shower. I walked downstairs and got going with breakfast. When I was done, I placed everything in a tray and took it to my mom's bedroom. Opening the door, she sat down, looking out her window. I knocked, getting her attention. She smiled and lured me in. "It's been a while. I miss the outside." She sighed. I wish I could tell her she would one day go. But then again, I'd be making empty promises. We all do. But the best you can do now is admire it and imagine the day you can go outside again, I said as poured the tea in the cup, handing it to her. She took it with a smile. "Thank you," she said. "You're right. The best I can do is admire it until my time is up," she realized. "Mom, don't say that. Your time isn't anytime soon. You're alive and well, and I hope you're alive and well for a very long time." I hoped. I must be a burden on you, being bedridden and not being able to help you. It's okay to be mad at me. It is, after all, my fault you were forced to. I cut her off. "You've said enough, Mother," I said as I continued to fix her food on the plate. "I don't like talking about my past, and I won't like it ever. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have started." She looked sad. "Mom, no matter what, don't ever think you being as sick is what made me make my decision. I made my decision because I wanted to, I said and smiled her. You, Mom, are the best thing I've ever had. And I'd never replace you. Ever. I said to her. You should go there once more, she requested. I'll go. But not now, I said, to get honestly. Okay. She dropped the topic as we sat together having breakfast. Slipping on my shoes, I yelled out to my mom about my departure and headed out the door, getting ready for work. I walked to the Alpha's mansion and took a deep breath before actually stepping in. I walked in smoothly. Earlier, I had sprayed an entire bottle of perfume on myself to cover my baby's scent. As for the heartbeat, it's still faint, and can only be heard when listening carefully. So I'm safe for now. I began doing my work, not saying a word to the other maids. Not smiling a bit. I was upset, and being here makes me sick. I went up to the Alpha's room, knowing he was not there. I walked in and began doing my work. Soon the door opened and the devil himself walked in. He glared at me before Lily rushed in after him. What is this? Doing here? She registered to me. My face held the same expression. I was just leaving. I said monotone. Honestly, even to me, my words were like ice. Like they held no emotion at all. You still have the guts to show yourself after your accusation against my mate. She glared. You really are shameful. No wonder why Daddy left. That just snapped me. I turned to her in an instant and I held her by the collar, choking her. My eyes turned deadly, and that's all to it, really. There's 3 things I won't tolerate. 1, words against my mom. 2, my past, and 3, my unborn child. You better watch what you say, for you will regret ever saying anything, I said darkly. She shook in fear and nodded, agreeing with me. I grabbed my broom and walked out the room. I looked towards Alpha and noticed his expression, but I could look long enough to make out what it was. Walking down the stairs, I continued to finish all the work. Then Alpha's youngest sister walked in, groaning. I've met her a few times, and let me tell you, she's another story. Aged, probably the only person part of the Alpha's family who is quite open, and mostly speaks to me. But today was different. She cast me a nasty look and walked up the stairs. Well, I don't care. The day was nearing end, and the people whom I thought I was close to felt distant. Well, that's reality. I walked out, saying goodbye, and down the street. It began raining, but that didn't matter. I walked down the sidewalk, and not looking where I was going, I tripped and began falling over. But someone caught my arm. And to be honest, I was grateful. I looked up to see golden eyes and a small smile. Are you okay? The man asked. And right in this moment, I wanted to fall to my knees. This feeling. I feel like I've seen him before. Who is he? Why do I feel as if I know him? I stared the man before me. He was indeed beautiful. But where had I seen him before? I know I've seen him somewhere. Are you sure you're okay? He questioned. I nodded, as I lay my hand on my stomach. He wouldn't know, though. He looked confused and lost, as well as tired. I looked at him once more and stared at his face expression. Is something the matter? I questioned him. He tuned to me and smiled. No, nothing. I hope to see you soon. He slowed down. Colleen, I said. He nodded, smiling. Yes. Colleen, he walked off, waving goodbye. Well, that was it. I shook my head, heading home. I got in the bus and rode in silence. My earphones plugged in my ears, and the only sound my baby's heartbeat. With no music. Just the silence. Of the little Budum. The bus stopped and I walked the way home. Getting home, I checked in Mother like always. There she lay down, a book in her hand. I took the book, putting it on the side table, switching off the lamplight. I then walked to the kitchen, preparing something to eat. I was starting, and I can't explain how painful hunger feels. I quickly pulled out some of last night's leftovers and heated it in the microwave. The microwave beeped and I opened it, taking out my hot and steamy plate of food. I sat at the counter on one of the bar stools and began eating. I don't know why, but my mind kept drifting off to an earlier. I don't know why, but I get the feeling I know him, which is very strange. I washed my dishes and headed straight for bed, lying down on my right side. I listened carefully as my baby's heartbeat sounded in my ears. The sound was a melody in my ears. I began thinking about the future. About what ifs. What if Alpha had not rejected me? Would I be happy? Funny how I refer to him as Alpha. 'Cause I never heard his name. Only once, and I can't remember. No one spoke much about him. He was just the Alpha. But there were stories of him being cold-hearted and cunning. Him being bad and ruthless, and mostly merciless. But the question that struck me was, why? Why was he seen as such? I let myself think of an answer, but nothing came to mind. But slowly, I was drifting off to sleep. And I was brought into a world of warm, comforting darkness. The next morning, I hurried myself to get to work on time. I had woken up late due to my stupid half-broken alarm. I rushed out the door towards the bus. I was lucky I got in there in time. I sat down and waited impatiently to get to work. The Alpha's house stood proudly. If there's a place I would rather not be, it would be here. Forever and always. I loathe anything that is related to him. I got to work and began cleaning. I cleaned the kitchen first today since a few of our staff had gone on leave for a while. The diffusing smell made its way through my senses, and I gagged. I had an urge to throw up. Hurriedly, I ran up the stairs and head to the nearest bathroom. I opened it and let my guts out, and it wasn't stopping anytime soon. I felt a soothing touch on my back, rubbing up and down, but I couldn't and won't see who it was. But I recognized the voice anywhere. "Are you okay?" the deep voice asked, belonging to none other than Alpha himself. I pushed back my hair and rinsed my mouth by the small sink near the toilet. I sat down, my back against the bathroom wall. "I'm fine," I said breathlessly. "Are you sure?" he questioned. Who the heck is he to act concerned? I said I'm fine, I snapped. "Remember, you don't care. So stop acting like you care all of a sudden," I said harshly. His eyes turned black in anger. Well, I got myself into this. "Reese," I heard his name being called out. Lillian made her way in the bathroom and looked at me in disgust. I shook my head at her and her childish behavior. "Go home for today. I don't need to straining yourself." Then blaming me for any illness caused to you, he said bluntly. "Once a monster, always a monster. Once a villain, always a villain. But once a mate, always a mate." I looked away from him, gathering myself together. I don't need people like him in my life. I don't. I flushed the toilet, leaving the bathroom not sparing a glance. I walked to the bus stop. Luckily, a bus came minutes later. I rode it to my street and got off. Walking home, I looked ahead, smiling. I put my keys into the keyhole and walked to my mother's bedroom only to see her with company. But this was the man from earlier. "Mom, what's going on?" I questioned. As they both spoke seriously, I looked between my mother and the man. Confusion clouding my brain. They looked like they knew each other. "But where, Colleen, honey?" "Welcome home," Mom said, trying to dodge my question. "Thank you. But I had asked you a question, Mom." "Please answer me," I said to her. She slouched a little. "Colleen, honey, take a seat," she said. I sat on the other side of the bed, taking deep breaths. I looked at the man and then back at my mom. "Now please explain what is happening here," I said calmly and composed. "Well, this is going to be difficult to say. But Colleen, meet your brother, Daniel." Right then, everything froze. "Brother, I have a brother." I looked up to see him, and he smiled towards me. "No, he's not," I said straightforward. "Yes, he is," Mom persisted. "If he was my brother, where was he when you got sick? Where was he when I needed someone most? Where was he when I was stuck in the hospital, praying you make it out alive? Where was he? Someone who only comes last minute cannot be regarded my family. And most of all, my brother," I said. Now tears were threatening to fall out of my eyes. "Colleen, you have to understand that he couldn't have been there," I cut Mother off. "No. He's going to do what Dad did. He's going to hurt this family," I said, remembering my pathetic father. "Colleen, that's enough. He is your brother, and you will accept it whether you like it or not," Mom said loudly. I don't know why, but in this moment I felt hate towards my so-called brother. I let out a sigh and walked out the room. I could hear Mother call out my name, but I chose to ignore. I walked to my room, shutting the door behind me. He's going to betray us. All men are the same. That all use you when needed and leave you when wanted or when things get too difficult. I've had enough and I'm tired. But there's one thing I won't tolerate. Hurt me all you want, but don't hurt my mother. A knock echoed through my door, and it doesn't take a genius to know who it is. Colleen. Hey, Daniel said, as he let out a sigh. I know you're mad at me for all these years, but you have to know I did it to protect you and Mom both. I'll be willing to talk whenever you're ready, he said. To protect, no, he's lying. He wouldn't. He won't. But I can't help but feel curious. I sat silently in my bedroom as the clock ticked by. It was excruciating, having to think about what happened that night. Call me crazy, but I seriously doubt remember. The only thing I actually remember is Dad saying that we were worthless to him and he needed something more. Deciding, I walked out my bedroom to the living room where Daniel sat. He looked up and smiled, about to say something, but I lifted my hand to stop him. I'm not here for you. I'm here because I want to know the truth. And our seems Hope, the only person who can tell me what happened that night. And you are going to tell me. His eyes held disappointment, and I looked away, not being able to bear looking at him. I understand. But I hope you can forgive me for making the decisions I made at that time. He smiled this time round. I began fiddling with my fingers. Well, who am I to judge your choices? After all, you had a reason, right? I tried making him forget about his guilt. Sure, I was still angry, but I couldn't stand making people feel bad. Thanks for the reassurance, he said, smiling. Would you like anything? Coffee, tea, water, I offered. He shook his head no. No, thank you. But have a seat. I wish to tell you what happened back then. I'm sure you don't remember since you were little, but to be honest, this was the cause of Mom's sickness. And that's what made me even more curious. But the things he told me next made me sick. I lie in my bed as the words float around in my head. How could anyone think of such things, let alone do? I couldn't explain the feelings going through my body. I lay on my side as his words replay. Our father was not an ordinary human being. He was a man of many secrets. But soon Mother began finding all of his plans, his truths, his identity. The mate she thought she knew wasn't what he seemed to be. He was dark and twisted. And though to his family, society, and to the world, he was seen as an innocent, caring man, I swear if I was more careful that time, if I had just told Mother what I began to notice, would she have been okay? Would she still have it? Bile started rising in my throat, as I thought more and more. Do you ever wonder why Mother is sick and not even the doctors can diagnose what's the matter with her? She herself knows. But I don't really know why she stayed silent. He sighed. What happened with her? I asked, not really wanting to hear. I don't know what I'd do. He took a breath and looked me in the eyes. With a broken look. He took her wolf away. Honestly, to think that such a loving person could turn to vile and non-human was absolutely sickening. Yes. I was angry at Mom for not telling me about this. But I'm more angry at myself for not noticing. That all these years she had been split in half. She wasn't her whole self. That she was lost. I rubbed my eyes as tears began rolling out of them. This was truly reality. Daniel had asked to end our relationship. But his excuses for saving my life still made me angry at him for not telling me why he had left the moment he chose to pack up and leave. Why did you leave, Daniel? I questioned my brother. Tears were threatening to fall out of my eyes. I'd never leave for no reason. You have to understand, at that time I was threatened. You see, I am part of the fault that Mother lost her wolf. When she started to find out all his secrets and lies, I was going to expose him. But somehow he knew I know. So he threatened me. It was either live with him or he hurt both you and Mom. At first I didn't believe. But when Mom lost her wolf and he was going to hurt you, I agreed, so I packed up and left. My life is really messed up. First, my mate rejects me, then I find out I'm pregnant. My brother shows up. Turns out my father is a twisted man, and my mom lost her wolf. Why is the moon goddess testing me so much? I rolled onto my side and continued to think. Soon my eyes felt droopy, and I fell into a dark abyss of nothingness. I woke up the next morning quite early and got ready for school. Today is the first day of my senior year. I guess things are gonna take a turn from here. Honestly, I really don't want to go to school. Partly because I know I will bump into my ex-mate, and also, I don't want to get any nausea. Doctor says I will start to often get nausea during the month, and I'm honestly not ready. I got my school bag and headed to the kitchen, preparing a small breakfast for myself. When I was finished, I walked to Mom's room to set a plate of toast and juice for her to eat while I was gone. Usually Lillian would knock on my door and we'd head to school together. But now I was alone. I walked out the door, locking it behind me, and took my trip to school. I, personally, am not ready. I walked through the school gates and straight to my locker. I was a few minutes early, and luckily, only after I had entered, people started piling up. Soon, a bang on my locker got my attention. I looked up to see Lillian. I guess she's replaced me with the school sluts. Good to know she's moved on. Whore. What are you doing back at school? I looked at her like she was a lunatic. I don't know. Why do people come to school? I said in a duh tone. She glared at me before speaking up. You know, I never knew what real friends were until I met Sasha and Alexandra. They are true friends, unlike people who have no standards and claim others to be their mate. She said cunningly, as if those words would shut me down. But all I did was smile at her. Okay then. Have fun with your friends, I said mockingly and closed my locker, walking away from her. I soon bumped into a hard chest, and the scent caught my nose. Oh shit. Sorry, I muttered under my breath. Yes, he's my ex-mate. But he is still my alpha. He kept silent and looked away from me. I quickly stepped aside, only to trip over my own feet. Falling. I was waiting for the impact, but instead I felt two arms wrap around my stomach and pulling me up. My nose caught his scent again. Shit, my stomach. I pulled away quickly as he growled towards me. I stepped away as he looked like a predator waiting to capture its prey. What is the matter with you? He questioned. In all seriousness. I looked away from him. Nothing, I answered bluntly. He stared at me a bit more, and now my palms grew sweaty. What if he had felt my baby's heartbeat, Colleen? You smell different, he said, as my breath hitched. Right now I feel like my lungs will explode. It's nothing, really, I said, thinking of an excuse. It's actually a new perfume I had bought. I thought I'd try something new. I lied. He stared at me as I gulped. Yes. He deserves to know the truth. And yes, I wanted to tell him. But I also have to think about myself. After all, it is he who rejected me, got me pregnant, and still had the nerve to lie and make me hated amongst everyone. I looked away from him, as I remembered all the horrible things he'd done. I need to get to class, I said harshly as I walked away from him. I had every right to be angry, every right to hate him, every right to keep the truth hidden. I entered the classroom and sat at the back. Soon the bell rang and everyone began filing the classroom, one after the other. The teacher walked in and we began to do our work. Soon a wave of nausea hit my nerves. This is bad. I sprinted out of the classroom, and my teacher had called out my name. Entering the girls' bathroom, I opened one of the stalls and puked my guts out. It felt so sickening. Finishing, I relaxed and my back hit the bathroom stall. I clutched my stomach as I sat down, breathing. This sucks. I began daydreaming, and soon I walked back to the classroom. Mrs. Maid. Daniel, are you feeling all right? Do you need to go to the nurse's offices? He asked, concerned. I would go to the nurse's office, but she'd tell Reese about it, and I definitely don't want him to know. No. It's okay. I'm fine. I lied. He nodded his head with a bit of worry in his eyes. I walked back to my seat and we continued to do our work. School was dragging and soon I felt tired. My back began hurting, and I felt dizzy. I walked down the hall, towards the library to read. I messaged Mom, telling her I'd come late. I sat in the library as the words began to swivel and spin. I couldn't make out the words, but concentrated hard. Soon a small migraine began taking effect. Someone else entered the library and did their work. Soon my eyes felt droopy and tired. But like I said, I wasn't going to sleep. But I was going to finish reading my book. And finish my homework. Today I have no duties at the Alpha's house. Not being able to control myself, I soon fell asleep on the library table and the book under my face. I let darkness take over and be welcomed in dreamland. Soon I was shook awake and I came face to face with the old librarian. "Colleen, are you feeling good?" she questioned me. "You never fall asleep like this. Especially not in the library," she said. I looked at her and smiled, shaking my head. "I'm fine, thank you. If anything, I'm feeling great. It's just I slept late, so I felt tired." I excused. She simply nodded. I packed the books that I was reading, and I began heading home. Wait. Was I dropping hints? I walked home, only to see the house unlocked. Panicking. I entered in a rush. "Mom." That's the only thing that was running through my brain. Soon I heard sobs coming from her bedroom, which immediately calmed me down. But why was she crying? Soon I heard a voice. One I'd never forget. One I'd want to rather die than have seated in my home. I rushed into her bedroom to see him sitting there. He turned to face me instantly, his mouth watering, scent alluring. "What are you doing in my house?" I demanded. What I yelled. Mom, startled, jumped a bit. "I came to speak to your mom concerning you," he explained. I instantly scowled at his words. Who does he think he is? "Forgive my behavior, Alpha, but who are you to come and speak of my well-being? And that too, especially with my mother," I asked. "I'm your Alpha and mate, so I do care." He tried to justify. "You're my Alpha." "Yes. But my mate. You lost the right to call me that the moment you uttered the words, reject." "Or have you forgotten?" I asked him. He looked like he was hurting, but he quickly covered it with his words. "I shouldn't have worried for nothing," he said. "Then you may leave. I don't need people like you, especially to step foot in my home. My house, where my unwell mother lay. I forbid you, the Alpha, from coming near me. I despise your presence." I was cut off by a sense of nausea hitting me hard. I held my mouth, rushing to the bathroom, puking my guts out yet again. How embarrassing. Soon he was in the bathroom, rubbing my back. What is with the emotions? First concern. Now this. Does he think this is some kind of romance or chick lit? It doesn't work like that in reality. When I was done, I rinsed my mouth and brushed my hair back with my hands as he stood with his hands in his pocket. Should I tell him the truth? Should I reveal my secret? Should I take the risk? I have food poisoning," I blurted out. He stared at me for a moment to detect any motion of lies on my face. "Oh, get well soon," was all he said, before walking away with a pang of hurt on his face. Why do I feel as if I'm about to cry? He looked so hurt. But why do I feel this way? I shouldn't, I won't. He hurt me and I chose to move on. But why does this hurt so much? I walked out the bathroom and into Mom's room with a scowl on my face. "How could you let him in?" I questioned her. I was boiling on the inside, in all honesty. She simply smiled at me before looking away. "I don't know. Perhaps because he wants your forgiveness," she said. Mom, that did not relate to my question. I do not care if he wants forgiveness or to kill me. All I want is for you to never allow him in this house again, never. Why would you let him in? He hurt me, Mom. And you of all people know that. So why? I asked as a tear rolled out my eye. It was painful. Really? Honey. No. He means well, but is doing it in the wrong way. He just wants I cut her off. I really don't care about what he wants, desires or lusts for. All I care about are me, my baby, and looking after you. So, Mom, I'm telling you this. He is to never set foot in this house again. Never. I concluded and walked away, getting ready to go clean for him. I got ready and walked out before saying goodbye to Mom. I arrived, only to be pushed down on the floor by one of Lillian's followers. Or should I say Luna? Soon a scream was heard. I swear if you were in Antarctica, you could hear it. Or even the ice there would crack or better shatter into trillions of pieces. "What have you done to my mate?" she screamed. Now I was very confused. I looked at her in confusion. I seriously wanted to snort at her words. But he isn't my mate, is he? What are you talking about? I asked her. All she did was glare at me. Why would you hurt him? What are you trying to do? Stop trying to ruin other people's relationships. You're just like your father that captured my attention. I turned to her angrily. Who does she think she is? What happens to your mate isn't my problem. It was he who came to my home in search for something, or should I say, my well-being. So if something is going on with him, why don't you take it up with him? And don't you ever bring my father into this. You know nothing. So don't try to act like you do. I said. It was people like her, backstabbing girls like her, who infuriated me, who were cowardly. Soon, she burst into tears, and I stared at her. That's all I could do. But at the same time, Reese had walked in. She is such an actress, Lily. What's the matter? He questioned, like a caring mate. And it honestly felt like a blow to my heart. But why should I care? Lily cried harder, as if it was the end of the world. I can't wait for the day she finds her mate. I seriously cannot wait. She hit me, insulted me, right in my own house. And what's worse is I didn't even do anything. She lied through her teeth. No wonder why they want to be mates. A liar for a liar. Reese looked towards where her finger was pointing. Me. He looked scared, confused, and mostly angry. He looked at me. And around. It was as if he was thinking about what to say to me. What to tell me. Why would you do that? Colleen, he questioned. All I had done was look him in the eyes. You tell me, Alpha. Why would I do that? In fact, what had I done indeed? I also want to know. Heck, I don't even know. I answered honestly. He looked towards Lily with questioning eyes, waiting for her excuse. Reese, ban her from this house. I can't live, knowing the girl who insulted me is working right under our noses. That just killed my vibe. Ban me. From this house. You can't do that. I earn most of my livelihood working here. You can't just tell me to quit working. I've worked here for more than 3 years, and now you're asking for me to quit, I questioned him, searching his eyes for some hint that he wouldn't do something like this. Brother. I think it's best to listen to what Lily is saying. His elder sister walked down the stairs, glaring at me. What had I even done to her? What? Why should he do that? Why did I do something wrong? Did I say something wrong? Did I break something, steal something? Tell me what I asked. All she did was look at me in disgust. I don't want you here. You're going to try and ruin my brother and Lillian relationship. Lillian told me about how jealous of her you are. She told me how you tried to sabotage her relationship by claiming an Alpha was an Omega's mate. She told me everything. From your friendship to your life. What you did to your father. How you hurt your mother. And mostly how you hate the brother who did nothing wrong to you. She said. I looked at her in confusion, in pain. And right now I couldn't help but let tears escape my eyes. We had captured a crowd, and honestly, it's not pretty having accusations thrown at me. What do you know about me? No one has the right to tell me things that aren't true. That father you spoke of. He left me when I was still a child. That brother you said I hate. He was threatened by my father with my mother and I's lives. And that mother you speak so confidently of has lost so much and can't even move, and has her only child looking after her. So don't speak as if you know anything, because you honestly know nothing, I concluded. They all stood silently, not uttering a word. You're right, I should just quit. Working for a bunch of judging people. This isn't worth my life. I then turned to Reese. You rejected me. You took away my dignity. You hurt me. And now what more do you want from me? What more are you asking for? I left you in peace. Why can't you let me? What is it that you want from me? To die? To pray for the moment back and tell the moon goddess I didn't want you? What? Tell me. What do you want? I asked. Now I was on a full-blown tears, crying, as I fell to my knees. Soon the old lady Caroline, who worked longer in this house than anyone and always took care of me, came to my side. I think it's best you leave, Colleen. I think you should end your suffering. Please don't hurt yourself by crying. Please don't hurt it. I froze. She knew. She knows of my child. But I didn't tell her. I hid my scent. How I scurried away from her. As Reese stared at me in confusion. He heard. What is she talking about, Colleen? Hurt, what, or more who, he asked. I kept silent as I walked back. You can't know. You won't know. I won't tell you. I'll never tell you, I whispered. He walked up to me as I walked out the door, scurrying. He was behind me, but was stopped by his sister and a few of the packmen. Calling, I heard him growl. But it was too late. I wasn't stopping anytime soon. I ran home, quickly opening the door, my hands shaking, my heart beating at a fast pace. Barging into Mom's room. There, Daniel was sitting beside her. They both startled, jumped a bit. Daniel put a hand on his heart, before taking a deep breath. Soon he looked at me in a confused expression. Colleen. What's the matter, he questioned. I swallowed. Panting. He's coming for me. Mom. I need to leave, I said, bursting into tears. He's going to know. Mom, please, I said to her. She looked at me. Pain in her eyes. You will leave and go to France. You'll have to make a living on your own. There aren't any packs. Everyone lives alone in peace. You'll take care of yourself there. So relax and get ready to leave. Daniel will book a flight this instant. Daniel, shocked, looked at me in worry. Why are you leaving, Colleen? You can't. I won't let you. I just got you. There's no way I'm letting you go again. No way, he said, his eyes watering. Daniel, I got rejected. And no matter what, I can't stay. Even if I love the man who rejected me. He is still a part of me. And I carry a part of him, I said honestly. He may have rejected me, but I'll never lie to my feelings. I love him and it hurts so much. I just can't. I can't say goodbye. But I have to. Daniel growled, looking pissed. What kind of idiot is he? He shouted, banging the side table. You'll meet him in time. But please, Daniel. I beg of you. Let me go. I don't want to. Please just do me this favor. Do it as if you're protecting your little sister. My heart beat rapidly. Soon a growl was heard in a distance. Reese was nearing. Daniel grabbed my hand and put a credit card in. He then pulled me out of the house and into the car as he called a travel agent, booking my ticket for right now. He drove at full speed, leaving me in fear. Daniel, slowed down a little. Please, I yelled at him, gripping the sides of the seat. He then drove a bit slower. Don't stress the baby. He smiled. An hour later, we reached the airport. I was dragged by Daniel to my terminal. Soon I was boarding the plane. Colin, I could hear Reese's growl, but it was too late. I was gone. I left. My heart clenched as I closed my eyes and let the tears stream. I sobbed into my hand. I was leaving everything behind. All because of a simple rejection. Why does it seem so stupid when I think about it? This was goodbye. But I can't say goodbye. Because I love him. I love him, Reese's point of view. She was gone in an instant. I let her slip through my fingers. I let my mate go. And I didn't even tell her why. I rushed to her house and walked in. To enter her mom's bedroom. Edna looked at me with a pained expression and held her chest. I'm sorry. I could not stop her. Right then it felt like a piece of me was missing. A half of me. As if my soul was gone. Why did you let her go, Edna? Why would you? You know why I had to reject her. Why would you? I asked. Right then my eyes were stinging with tears. It hurt a lot. If this was inside of a dream and these feelings aren't true, I'd wish to wake up. I wish to wake up now. But it's reality. It's life now. It's happened. And it happened so fast. Reese, you have to get her back. Bring my baby back. Edna cried. I don't want her to go. I embraced her as she cried in my chest. How am I supposed to find her? I don't even know where she went. I reasoned. France. Go to France. She's there. But you have to suffer a little to find her. Show her you do love. Explain to her. Explain why you rejected her. Explain to her about my husband's threats against you. Tell her, she said. I stood up and turned, only to be punched square in the jaw. I fell to the ground as I saw an angry man. Who the hell is he? Why did you reject my sister, so he's the brother? Daniel. Daniel, Edna yelled as he punched me once again. How could you get her pregnant, then reject her? Right then he covered his mouth with his hand, as if saying something he wasn't meant to say. But everything froze. Pregnant, Colleen's pregnant. I turned to Edna, only to see her guilty eyes. She looked away. My mate was pregnant, and I didn't even realize it. She was carrying a part of me. So all the tiredness, all the puking, all the emotional breakdown was because she was pregnant. And what hurts most is she was in pain, along with my child. I could have hurt her. I could have killed my own child. She was suppressing her feelings. She was breaking on the inside, but stood strong. Edna, why didn't you tell me? I questioned her. She simply looked at me with teary eyes. But tears were already rolling out my eyes. I was going to be a father, and I didn't even know. Damn. It hurts. I wanted to tell you, Reese. But she was absolutely devastated after you rejected her and made me promise I wouldn't say anything. But you can bring them back. Earn her forgiveness, she said. I banged my hand on the ground. That stupid maid of yours and his threats, if only I didn't. If I didn't reject her, she'd... I broke down and spoke through sobs. Reese, don't beat yourself up. You thought you were doing the right thing. Now go get her. And that's exactly what I'll do. I'll get my mate back. And no threat is going to stop me. I boarded off the plane. Here I stand in the airport, with nothing but Daniel's credit card. I walked out showing my passport and ticket, and soon I was out of the airport. And in France, I let the wind blow into my face. This is a new start for me. A new life. No more worries. Not nothing. Just me. My baby and freedom. Soon I got into a taxi and drove to a hotel. Tomorrow I'll go apartment hunting. The taxi stood in front of the hotel as he swiped my credit card, paying the transportation fee. Bonne nuit, good night, madam, he said as he drove off. Soon I got to the reception and booked a bedroom. This was it for me. I was alone. No pack. No worries. I sat in the huge hotel room. As I lay still on the comfortable bed, looking up at the ceiling, waiting for sleep to consume me. The only thing I listened to was my baby's heartbeat. The only thing I thought about was life. If I wasn't rejected. The only name going, though my head was his, was Reese. I turned to my side as I silently sobbed. I really wonder how he is not affected after rejecting me. Isn't rejection supposed to feel like death? How was he dealing with it? Did he really not want me? Did he seriously think bad of me? I looked at myself in the mirror, pulling out a scissor from the cupboard. I put a fist around my hair. Silently, my waist-length hair became shoulder-length. I watched my brown hair lay on the floor. I looked at myself in the mirror once again, as I cried into my hand. Why was I rejected? Why was I made to suffer? Why was I given someone who ended up hating me? Why was fate allowing me to carry his child? I put my hand on my stomach as I cried. I won't allow my child to live a life of rejection. I won't allow him to know he's a father. I won't allow him to reject my child as well. I was rejected, it's fine. But my child won't go through the same pain and torment. I stood up as I rushed to the toilet bowl, puking yet again. Stupid nausea. The doctor back home said apparently my baby bump should start showing in a week's time. I smiled at the thought. I walked to the sink, rinsing my mouth, and looking at my tear-stained face, washing my face. I skidded into the room, pulling the covers over me. I switched off the lamplight and lay down looking into the city. Soon, my eyes began feeling droopy as I fell asleep, as I fell into a dark abyss. Reese's point of view. Tomorrow I was going to find her. I was going to get her back. I was going to tell her everything once I have found her. How could I have let a stupid threat rule my life? To be honest, the threat wasn't stupid. It was actually quite painful. Quite horrific to think about. But couldn't I have explained it to her? Why was I so stupid, Reese? Honey, let's go to bed. I heard her disgusting voice. I swear it sent bad shivers down my spine. Not now, Lillian. I'm not sleepy and I'm not in the mood, I said, frustrated. Reese, how long am I going to have to lie to everyone saying we've mated? When in actual fact you've been holding back, I can't keep wearing your coloring forever, you know. She spat bitterly. I looked at her and forced a smile on my face. I seriously have to keep her away. Baby, you have to understand I'm waiting for the right moment. I want your first time to be special. Not ordinary, I said. Inside, I wanted to puke utterly. She suddenly blushed at my words and held her face. You're so open-minded and clear-thinking. I will wait 100 years until you feel it's the right moment, she screeched. To be honest, Lillian was not ugly. She was quite pretty. But nothing could compare to Colleen's beauty. She was 10 times more beautiful than anyone I knew of. And this is not just the mate bond. This is reality. Soon Lillian was out of my office. As I sat thinking about Colleen and the baby, I wonder what we're having. A girl or a boy, a set of twins or triplets. She honestly deserves more than what I have to offer. She deserves the best of everything. She deserves all the amazing joys in life. To be honest, not having her here with me is killing me. Imagine having to think about your mate every night. All because her dad is a psychopathic man who wants only pain and suffering for his family. Thinking about him just pisses me off. But it won't be long now. I'll get her back. And I'll convince her. Even if it takes me millions of years. I'd do just that. I must have hurt her a lot. I must have put her through so much. I must have made her and my unborn child suffer a lot. I'm a really bad mate. But I'll be bad to protect them. I'll be the worst mate. If I have to allow them to live. I would be the cruelest person on earth. Just for their protection. I'd do anything. Anything for them. Even if it means death. I looked ahead of me. The wind blew towards me. My hair flying in different directions. This is it. I looked at my new apartment. As my furniture was being put in. By the moving people. My new life starts here. It wasn't long before they left and I had the apartment to myself. To be honest, it wasn't all that grand. But it was just right. Enough for me and my child. I walked to the one bedroom on the one side of the small hall and entered. Falling on the new comfortable bed I had bought, I lay on my side, waiting for phone calls from various places. I had already applied for a few jobs at restaurants, bars, and a local bakery. Now all that's left is for me to wait to get an interview. I sighed, standing up, walking towards out the door, and into the streets. I smiled as the bright sun touched my skin. Not watching where I was going, I bumped into someone. Looking up, I saw a man who looked worried. Are you okay, madam? He asked in a thick French accent. I slowly nodded, pulling away from him. I'm perfectly fine. Just a little clumsy and spaced out. I smiled. He looked at me curiously. Was there something on my face I haven't seen you around this side of town before? Are you the new lady who moved into the neighborhood? He asked curiously. I nodded. I guess I was already the new talk of the neighborhood. We don't get a lot people moving in around here. They say it's vampire and werewolf infected. But that's not true. They're myths. He chuckled. I chuckled fakely with him. If only he knew. Right. So who are you? I never caught your name, I said, changing the subject. He looked at me and smiled. Forgive my manners. Pardon. My name is Alex Montezuma. Sorry. And you are? He questioned. My name is Colleen. Colleen Anderson. He nodded. I guess you're American. Based on your accent, he asked. I nodded. Yes, I am. I just recently moved here. Because my boyfriend and I had a lot of things going on. And we needed space. I lied. If only Reese was my boyfriend and we were having space. But this was permanent. No hoping to go back. Are you pregnant, Colleen? Or are you like this? He noticed the small baby bump on my tummy. Yes. I happen to be. almost 3 weeks pregnant. I smiled. Does he know your boyfriend, I mean? Does he know you're carrying his child, he asked, concerned. I shook my head. But don't you think that's bad, considering? If he finds out, he's going to take them away from you, he said. He won't. I'm gone and he won't find me. I said honestly. He wasn't ever going to find me. If I was your boyfriend and you kept this hidden from me, I'd honestly hate you. But perhaps he did something for you to keep quiet. I stared at him. I don't think that's any of your business. But even if there was a reason, I don't think I can ever forgive him, I said. And it's true. I'm too hurt by him to actually forgive him. The most difficult thing is forgiving someone who hurt you. I see. Anyway, Colleen, would you like to join me for dinner? And I think since you're new, you're looking for a job. Am I right? He asked. Yes. How'd you know? I asked. Because I'm the owner of the restaurant you called looking for a job, and I'm willing to give you the job. He smiled perfectly, but not as perfect as Reese. Really, thank you, I said, smiling. Was luck on my side or what? Shall we? He asked, putting out his arm. I held it as we walked towards the restaurant. Reese's point of view. The flight landed an hour ago. As I stood in France's airport, this was initially my time to find my mate. Going home towards the flight check, I asked the woman by the stand if they had any information about her. About Colleen. How they showed me is my secret, apparently. She was staying at a hotel a bit close to here. I took a cab and headed down there. Her scent was faint, but you could tell she was here. I walked up to the receptionist as she fixed her shirt, trying to show more cleavage than she already showed. Hi. I'm looking for my girlfriend who was here a few days ago. She had booked a room here, I said. She licked her lips. Before speaking, can I have her name? Handsome. Her voice was repulsive. Colleen. Colleen Anderson, I said. She typed on the computer as she looked carefully on her screen. She then turned to me. She checked out of here this morning. She found an apartment 2 streets left from here, she said, smiling. Before trailing her hand up my arm, I kept a blunt face, pulling my hand away. Stupid, horny human women, I smiled fakely. Uttering a thank you, the cab I had ushered earlier waited patiently outside for me. I got in and showed him the address the receptionist had given me. Why are you in a rush, monsieur? He questioned me curiously. I'm looking for my girlfriend. We had a fight. It was really big. And on the same day, she ran away. I found out she was pregnant. I smiled sadly. The taxi driver huffed out a breath. Women. You got to learn to love them. But when you find her, never let her go. 'Cause she is going to be the biggest joy in your life. And she'll give you a bigger joy, he said, astoundingly wisely. You don't have to tell me twice. I chuckled nervously as we came into view of the 2-story apartment. I walked up and came into contact with the door that had tape saying, "Just sold." I could smell her scent lingering strongly around here. But no one was home. I sat patiently on the stairs outside. As I waited for her, soon I heard her huff out a breath as she looked tired. She walked up the stairs, only to look at me. She froze. She watched me intently as I stood on my feet. Colleen. I breathed out, taking a step forward. She took a step back, and she did the thing I was least expecting. She ran, and not like jog ran, like ran, as if she was trying to get away. I couldn't blame her. I deserve that. And in this moment, I know this is going to be a chase. Soon I was behind her. I wasn't going to let her go. I ran. And I ran fast, but I knew he was right behind me. There was no way I could beat the stamina of a pure alpha, and especially me being pregnant. It slowed down my abilities in order to protect my baby. Still running on the streets. The woods caught my attention. Perhaps I could lose him there. I took a turn for the better, and he turned sharply. Stupid alpha and his genes. He was hot on my heels. But we were in between trees, Anything could happen. I felt myself step on a branch, and let me tell you, it hurts. I lost my shoes the moment I started running. I wasn't going to risk it. Continuing to run. A river flowed in front of me. Reese came and looked at me worried, as if telling me not to dare jump. Ignoring his look, I took a jump into the river. Swimming across, my scent would be wet for a few moments. Giving me enough time to escape him, I ran deeper into the woods, my clothes dripping wet. When I could scent him any longer, I took a deep breath and slid down a tree. Panting tiredly, I took a look at my foot, only to see a purple bruise forming. I closed my eyes for a moment, trying to even out my breath, when a twig snapped beside me. I looked swiftly, only to see no one. No scent. No person. No wolf. Just me, looking away again. The leaves on the forest ground ruffled. I looked up to see deadly eyes. Rogue eyes. The distorted beast made an appearance before me. As I took a step back, "What are rogues doing in France?" I thought Mom said. It was a place where no packs were. So why? Curiously. I forgot about the wolf. It lunged at me, biting the skin on my arm, making me scream in agony. I took a step back as blood dripped from my arm. My vision became hazy and blurry. I let the tears flow. From all the pain, soon it growled against me. And as it lunged forward, I closed my eyes. Was this it? Soon I heard another ferocious growl. I looked to see none other than Reese. Alpha Reese, my ex-mate. He snapped at the rogue, as the rogue growled at him and lunged. The rogue bit into Reese's leg, making him howl in pain. In all honesty, my heart clenched right then and there. Reese, getting his leg out of the rogue's tough bite, kicked it. Soon, he bit into the rogue's neck, allowing it to die slowly. I took a deep breath and looked at the wolf. I would love to thank him. But honestly, I hate all of him and his cruel actions. Soon you could hear the crackling of bones and Reese coming out of the bush with a pair of shorts on. He stood half naked in front of me, and I couldn't help but feel an alluring sensation take over me. "Colleen, are you okay?" He tried to touch my face. I slapped his hand away, cowering away, a sad expression taking over his face. "What are you doing here?" I questioned him, as he continued to keep silent. What I yelled, "Colleen, you have to understand. You have to listen." "There," he said. But I cut him off. "I have nothing to listen to. Everything that comes out of your mouth is a lie," I said bitterly. "I'm not stupid to trust someone who has already hurt me once." He banged his fisted hand on a tree, shaking it, as he screamed. Or more. Growled. "Colleen, listen to me," he said, scaring me. I gulped as my hands shook. "I know," he whispered, making my breath hitch. I let my eyes wander, not being able to face him. How could he have known I made sure to cover my scent? The heartbeat was faint. Sure, my tummy grew a bump, but it looked like a small ball of fat growing. Nothing like a baby. "So how I don't know what you're talking about," I stated, lying through my teeth. He growled and looked at me darkly. "Don't try to deny it. I know you're carrying a part of me. I know you tried to hide it. I know why you left. How you felt. But did you ever think to say, 'How is he coping with this?'" he questioned, as he stared at me intensely. I couldn't think right. "Why would I wonder, Reese? Tell me. Was it not you who rejected me? Was it not you who denied our bond? Was it not you who thought I was unable to be a strong enough Luna for you? So what have you came out to seek, huh? What do you want? You've already made a mess of my life," I screamed at him. I looked at him as he stayed quiet. As he looked away, something was eating him up. But it's not like I should care. He did all of this. He is the cause of all of this. You're going to hurt my child, like you did me. And I'm not going to risk it. I really don't know what you came looking for, but I don't have it. So please leave me. And don't ruin the happiness I'm looking for right now. Please don't," I said. But he interjected, cutting me off. "I did it for you," he said. Everything froze. What? I said. I did it for you. I stared at him. I stared at him through his eyes. There's no way. No reason. There can't be. Reese. Please. You've done so much harm. Just please. Stop. I begged him. He looked at me, a sad expression taking over his face. Please let me at least try and explain. Please, he said. I kept quiet for a moment. Should I allow him to tell me? Would it be lies? Or would he really be genuine this time? Should I risk it? I stared at him, looking for one slip-up. Fine. But not here. Let's head back to my apartment, I said, as I caught a glimpse of something behind him. We walked back to my apartment, and boy, were we far from it. When we got there, I put the kettle on, preparing some tea for us. I handed him a cup and sat on the opposite chair. Okay, you can explain, I said, hoping that it would be valid, hoping he'd had a concrete reason into rejecting me. But what could be so bad that I'd get rejected? Your dad threatened me, he said. When those words left his mouth, I couldn't believe it. No, it can't be. He can't. He doesn't. What did he say? I asked him, trying to keep my cool. Well, let me explain what has happened. The night of our intimacy. Flashback, Reese's point of view, a birthday with regretting Alpha. There's a party tonight. And guess what? You're invited. And the person hosting this birthday party is the beta's daughter. My best pal Daniel said, I'm not in the mood for a party. With all the pack stuff going on. I don't think I'll have enough time for any of that. He pouted and pulled a long face. You're such a party pooper, he yelled, acting like a 5-year-old. I chuckled at his reaction. The rest of the afternoon he had bugged me and bugged me and bugged. And God, was this getting annoying. Fine, I'll go, but please shut up for the rest of the day, I said, tired. To be honest, I haven't slept in 2 days due to the Alpha work and amount of patrolling we have. But to be strong, you gotta sacrifice some things, right? Later that night, we had actually attended that party, and God, even the host wasn't here. And the party was going on. My wolf began stirring. Happily, might I add. Not knowing what's the matter, I walked down the stairs only to be slapped in the face with the most amazing scent. She's here. The one and only. My beloved. My mate. I began searching through the crowd of people. For her. For mine. I've waited enough to get her. And I finally found her. When we came into contact, she let out a sigh. From her pink, luscious lips. She parted them as she uttered Alpha. And that voice, I'd know it anywhere. This voice belonged to none other than Colleen Anderson, the girl everyone would know to love, because of her looks. Though she seems oblivious to it. I've been waiting for you, I whispered in her ear, getting her to shiver to my voice. This was it. I was getting my mate. I was going to complete the mating process. Mark her and allow her to bear my pups. You can't be. How she questioned, confused. She was really something. I guess the moon goddess paired us. I mocked. She simply glared at me for a moment. I refuse to be paired up with you. She spat the words out like venom. Ouch. Well, I wouldn't blame her. After all, I do have a reputation. But I'd drop that reputation any time. Just for my mate. Soon an arousing smell trickled my nose, and it smelt so heavenly. I couldn't control my wolf. I looked towards Colleen as she shivered a bit. What's happening? Why are you in heat all of a sudden? Not that I'm complaining. It just gets difficult to control my wolf. I'd like to know too. I know my eyes were darkening due to the longing. I pushed her against the wall and kissed her like there was no tomorrow. My fingers then itched and zipped down her zipper of her dress. Soon the dress was off her flawless body, and we fell into a night I'd always cherish. The night I had with my mate. A few hours later, Colleen snoring a little beside me. I chuckled a bit. I stood up, heading downstairs. This place was filled with drunk teenagers all over the place. I walked to the kitchen, drinking a glass of water. Soon a voice caught my attention. I see you had a wonderful time. I turned, coming face to face with a man I'd never seen before. Who the hell are you? I questioned. He simply chuckled at my sentence. The name's Daddy of the girl you just slept with. His smile sinister and cunning. So this is Colleen's dad. Well, sure. I have no idea of hurting her. After all, she is my mate and I'm going to love her. And I hope you accept our relationship, I said to him with no emotion laced in my voice. Tisk. 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 That's what's the problem. I don't accept this relationship and you're going to end it with her. Rejection. And you're going to take another Luna as yours, he said. I stared at the man in disbelief. I couldn't. No, I wouldn't do that to my mate. She'd D. I refuse. I stated firmly. As Alpha, I won't allow some man to command me around. What if I tell you that I can kill your mate in an instant by just cutting a thread of her hair? He said, silencing my thoughts. That's impossible, I said darkly. The only people who could do that were... Oh, you don't believe me, young man. Oh, well, I might as well prove it to you then, he said, twisted. He walked to a random teenager still watching some television. Pulling a strand of hair from the unaware teenager, he pulled out a golden pair of scissors and cut right in the middle. Soon the boy fell, unconscious. Walking up to the boy, his heartbeat began fading. What was happening? Why was this happening? It would hurt to know that could be your beloved Luna, he said sickly. Was this man insane? Why would you wish to hurt your own daughter? I questioned him. I ask the questions and give the errands. You just follow, he said as he walked up to the room upstairs in a speed. Running. I walked in only to see him running his hand through Colleen's hair. How dare he? I took a step forwards as he pulled 2 strands of her hair as she slept soundless. Now, Alpha boy. What will it be? He asked me seriously. His expression changed. I will do it. But just know you can't keep 2 people apart. Your threat will soon die down and I'll soon have my mate back in my arms. And I'm going to promise to do that. All he did was laugh at my words and just simply vanished into the air. I walked towards the bed. Painfully. Just having to think of rejecting my mate makes me sick to the gut. And what's worse, I had to take someone else as my mate, which stinks even more. I slipped under the covers as I pulled her closer to me. I let my fingers run on her arms, and through her hair. I'd do anything just to see her every day. I'd do anything to love her in any way, and I'd do anything to ensure her safety, even if it meant death. End of flashback. I stared at Reese in disbelief. My father, the man who I loved, the man everyone loved, turned out to be a sick and twisted man. Do you understand why I did it? He asked as I nodded. But why now? Why tell me now? I asked him. He let out a sigh. I got sick of lying to you, having to put on a charade, covering my face with a facade, not being able to have you by my side. I got tired, he said, and that's why I'm here, to ask for your forgiveness, and for one more chance. What do you say? Do you want to be mates with me again? He questioned. Please, he pleaded. Honestly, I don't know what to feel. He did all that, and he had done it just for me. But why couldn't he had told me about this earlier? Why did he pretend to love Lily Reese? I don't know. I don't know if I can trust you, I said to him. Not that I trusted him before, but something was telling me to give him a chance to prove himself. Colleen, I'm serious this time. I'm trying to do the right thing. I promise to treat you right. I promise to take care of you. I promise you to always be there for you and be the perfect mate. I promise. So just please give me a chance, he asked. I looked into his eyes, looking for something, looking for a clue to say he'd betray me. But there was nothing. One chance. To be the mate I've wanted. The mate I want to fall in love with. One chance. To prove you care and will cherish me. One chance, I said. A huge grin slapped his face as he pulled me to his chest, but froze as he felt my baby bump against his tummy. He bent down to my tummy level, lifting my shirt up a bit. He looked up at me for permission and I nodded, granting. He let his warm hand rub my tummy gently. "Hi, baby," he whispered, making my heart melt. "Honestly, this is a moment I didn't think I'd be in. I'm your daddy. And yes, I know. I was being a bad man to Mommy. But no worries. I'll make it up to her in the best way possible, and I promise to be here with you guys forever." He smiled. He stood up and walked behind me. As I pulled down my shirt, he walked up behind me and let his arms wrap around my waist. I finally had my mate back. Mon amour. Mon vie. Belle. Merveilleux. Éblouissante. Magnifique. Et tout à moi, my love. My life. Beautiful. Amazing. Stunning. Gorgeous and all mine. He whispered in my ear. A shiver ran through my body as he placed a kiss on my neck. It felt beyond what I thought I would feel. I finally had my mate, and he was all mine. No one else's. Mine alone. His hands rubbed my belly as he bent down, continuing to kiss down my neck. I let my eyes close. At the pleasure I felt, he soon began paying attention to the place he would mark me. I let out a loud sound of appreciation. He turned me around as his lips captured mine. It was full-blown passion, although that's what I felt it was. He pulled me closer, but careful not to hurt the baby. My hands moved to the soft locks of hair on his beautiful head. His hands then began to rub my sides as they slipped inside my shirt. I smiled into the kiss. As I thought, would this what it would be been like if nothing happened? If I hadn't gotten rejected, feeling out of breath, we pulled away from each other. Panting, might I add. He put his forehead on mine and looked into my eyes. "I'm sorry I had to reject you. I'm sorry we had to go through all this. I'm sorry for all the pain I've caused. I'm sorry for all that you suffered for. I'm sorry for not explaining earlier. And I'm definitely sorry for putting you through all this pain." He smiled. If I could go back and change what had happened between us, if I could go back to that moment I rejected you, I would. But no, I'd do anything if it meant protecting you and our baby. My heart skipped a beat as he said, "Our baby." It sounded nice. What was nicer was having him here. Beside me, not ever leaving me. I shook my head and pushed him away. "We've had a long day, so I think I should hit the hay. I'm tired right now. But Reese, I don't want to leave France early as yet. I want to spend a bit of time here. Please," I said to him. "How long do you wish to stay?" he asked me. "Just a week or so. Just to experience. Quit my job for the fun of it. And visit some places." I smiled giddily. He looked at me. "Sure. But we need to go. After 5 days. Remember, I have a pack to run and a Luna to introduce," he said. My heart clenched happily. It was all a new feeling to me. Who knew I'd give him a chance, the one I hate so much, or should I say, have fallen in love with. Even if he had hurt me so much, I know I must be a sadist. But you can't blame me for loving the one made for me. Right, but a part of me hasn't forgiven him fully. And can't trust him fully. But what's worse is, what happens to my father, hey Reese? What are we going to do about my father? I asked him as he tensed. I guess we'll have to deal with him in another way. But honestly, I may be an alpha. But I'm afraid. He might hurt you and I can't live with that. He whispered the last part. Just know, Reese, I'm yours and I'll always be by your side. No matter what. No matter the situation. I'll stick by you through it all. I reassured him. He looked at me with a small smile. And once again, he pulled me to him in a warm embrace. As he kissed my head. That's right, I'm his. And his alone. I snuggled closer into him, allowing myself to take in his scent. I woke up to the sun's rays reflecting in my face. I turned away, only to come face to face with my alpha, my mate. I could seriously get used to this. I watched as his chest heaved up and down, and his lips parted as he breathed peacefully. His hair was sticking all over the place, and honestly, it was cute. his arms wrapped tightly around me, bringing me closer to him. I lifted my hand, stroking his hair and playing with the baby hair on his nape. A groan left his lips as he opened his soft eyes. "Morning." I smiled. "Good morning," he said huskily. As he smiled at me, "It feels great to have him near me." It felt great to wake up next to him. I hit his bare chest as I tried pushing away from him, but all he did was pull me closer. "Let me go." "Reese, we have so much to do today," I said as I finally pushed away from him. He let out a light chuckle as I walked to the bathroom, freshening up. I finished with a light touch of makeup. Walking out of the bathroom, my mouth became agape. There, Reese stood partially dressed. "Like what you see, I hate that line. You know, it gets me all worked up." "I tell you no. I've seen better." I lied through my teeth. "At least I think there's better." "Right," he snorted at my response. "Yeah. In your dreams." Was he challenging me? Was he seriously going there? I glared at him from where I stood. Before flipping my hair. Not that it went anywhere. Like it used to. I walked away from him into the kitchen of the small apartment. A knock came through the door. As I began preparing breakfast, opening the door, there stood a grinning Alex. He pulled me into a hug, and a growl echoed through the room. "Well, this is bad." I turned to see a fuming Reese. "Well, that was not expected." "Colleen." "Who is he?" Alex questioned curiously. "Her boyfriend." "Who are you?" Reese said angrily. I could see steam from his ears. "Boyfriend, I thought you guys were on a break," he stated. Reese looked at me, then at Alex. "Yes, we were. Now we're back. Can you get your hands off her?" he barked. Alex looked at him curiously, before dropping his hands off me. "This is very strange, might I add," he said as he watched Reese tense up and down, as if he was about to blow up. "Alex, this isn't a good time. He's really angry. Come later." "Okay." He looked at me with a worried expression. "What if he hurts you and the baby?" "It's too risky," he said, concern laced in his voice. I let out a sigh. "Don't worry. He won't. He just hates other guys. If anything, you should be worried about yourself. Or he'll hurt you," I said to him. "It was good having you here." "Bye," I said as I pushed him out the door and shut it immediately. I blew out a tired breath as I turned angrily towards Reese and his fuming form. "Calm down." "He's gone," I said angrily. "Who the hell is he? I don't want to see him around you anymore," he demanded. "He wishes. He's a friend of mine. And no, I will see him. He's not bad," I defended. Reese abruptly turned towards me. "I don't trust him, Colleen. There's something off about him, and I don't like it," he stated. "Are you hearing yourself? Sure, I've only known him for a short while, but that does not give you a right to judge him. He's been nothing but nice to me. So please, while you were with that stupid fake maid of yours, he was helping me." I pushed it. "Can you shut up?" "Colleen, just shut it, firstly. I was not with Lillian. I was looking for you, and secondly, don't bring up what I had to do with now. I said I don't like him, and that's that. He's bad, and that's it." "Something is off about him, and that's that," he said, yelling. I glared at him before looking away from him. "Why are you so infuriating? Why, you know what? I need some air," he said as he walked out the apartment door. "What the hell is going on with him? Alex isn't bad." "Is he? No. He isn't. He actually helped me while I was depressed over Reese. Sort of. Something is off with Alex, no. Reese, there's something off with you. Something you're not telling me. And I am going to know." "Your eyes are telling me so." I sat patiently in the living room, just waiting for him to come home. For Reese. It's been 2 hours since he stormed out acting weirdly. I don't know what it is, but Reese has been really weird and strange to see him like that. I know for sure he's hiding something, and something big at that. The door opened and shut echoed throughout the apartment in a rough manner. He strolled in the apartment in a hurry. His shirt messed up, I might add. His hair ruffled up and his chest stained with mud. His face looked panicked. "Colleen, we have to leave," he said out of breath. I looked at him confused. Why, I questioned him. "It's your father." "He's here," he said, exhausted. That's when I saw the blood trickling from his forehead. Oh my gosh. "Reese, you're bleeding." I stood up, trying to touch his head. He grabbed my hand and looked me dead in the eye. "There's no time for that. Pack what you need. We gotta have a move on." He rushed me. I nodded slowly and headed for the room. What in God's name is happening? Reese's point of view. I can't explain the panic right now. I know that Alex guy looks familiar. Running into the woods. I let out a sigh. My wolf is craving for release, but I don't think that's a good idea. I walked deeper into the forest, not expecting to be punched to the ground unexpectedly. What the heck? Laughter echoed through the forest. And it was seriously creepy. I stood my ground as I tried to detect movement or a scent. But none of that appeared. Soon I was kicked to the ground. 2 feet made their way before me. As I looked up to see him, "Alex, what the hell are you doing?" I groaned out in pain. This was weird. My body was supposed to be fine now. I wasn't supposed to be feeling pain. But why? "I came to give you a message." He smirked cunningly. "From who? God, I just got things back on track. Master says it isn't very smart of you to go against him. So now your dear Luna is going to pay." Then it caught my attention. I knew something was off about you. "You stinking vampire," I yelled angrily. My wolf was getting out of control. But I tried my hardest not to lash out. I could feel him surface to a point that I had so little control. "Oh, your Colleen wouldn't be happy to hear you speak to her best friend like that. She won't forgive you," he said, smiling. "Did he lose his brain cells or something? I don't understand where you're getting at," I said, as my eyebrows furrowed. I tried keeping my breathing in check as I stood up. My wolf was getting closer and closer. I planted a seed of doubt in her mind. So no matter how much she says she forgives you, how much she thinks you are right, how much she feels for you, there will always be a seed of doubt. A doubt that will tear you apart. He laughed, and that just ticked my wolf. Soon I could feel my bones in pain. I can't give in now. I need to suck some information from him. I need to know what he's getting to. Just a little more time. That will never work. A mate bond is stronger than anything. She will forgive me. Believe when I say that it will happen, I said, trying to believe myself for sure. He chuckled lightly. "Oh, Reese, you do not know what you're getting yourself into. That girl is nothing but trouble. You're going to try so hard to get her to believe you and love you. But every time you do, it will perish as if it never happened," he said smoothly. "The master or Colleen's father won't hurt her, right?" I asked carefully, not wanting anything unnecessary to slip. Who knows, he is really a strange man. He can do strange things at strange times. But as for this, I think he'll allow it to play a little longer. Just to watch you suffer. Just to watch you in pain. After all, he does hate you. That's what I needed. Colleen's dad's aim. If I know his motive, his reason, and how he's going to do it, I think I have a better chance at saving my mate. A better chance at saving both of them. We've never even met. He can't hate me. We don't know each other, I played out. I just need a little more. Every time the idiot says her name or something that my wolf doesn't like, he keeps pushing and pushing. "No. You've never, but your father has. Something went around with your father and him, which he then learned to despise people and family. I guess that's what changed the master. But honestly, I don't know why he's here." He cut himself short. "I guess he's figured out my motives. He's here. He's here. He's here." That's what seemed to ring in my mind at the moment. "Shit, Colleen." Alex laughed, venom in his tone. "You are very smart, Alpha. But not." Now I cut him short. As my canines shot out, I held him by his throat, stopping the air passage. Just enough for him to pass out. I can't kill him. Not yet. Not until I can get more information. And I know he will come back to find me. Because he loves Colleen. And that seems to put me on edge. And not little. A lot on edge. Reese sat agitated next to me in the taxi. My mind still confused about what was happening. Why we were leaving. What happened? Just moments ago we planned to stay for 5 days, and all of a sudden, boom. Here we are in an awkward silence. His fingers tapping his knee in impatience. His hands kept on going through his hair. His eyes focused on one spot as if thinking, okay. That is it. What the hell is up with you? I questioned him. He turned to me before turning away. We have to leave. He said. Yes. I know my father is here. But what more is there? What more is he hiding, Reese? You're not telling me something. Tell me exactly what's the matter. I know you're not only worried about my father, but you're worried about something else. Tell me. I said softly. He turned to me and looked away. He opened his mouth, but nothing was coming out. He looked out of words. He looked as if he were battling whatever was inside him. Nothing. Were his simple words. Did he not trust me, or did he do something that he knows will hurt me? Do you not trust me? I asked. He kept quiet, looking out his window. He didn't reply. He didn't even look at me. Makes me wonder if it was the right choice to give him a chance. To forgive him. We reached the airport as Reese rushed out, grabbing our bags from the taxi's trunk. He grabbed my hand, dragging me to the terminal. Yes. Hello. I booked a ticket under gold. He said. The man looked at him. Yes. You did. I'm good to say you may board the plane. The man said, Thank you. Reese says as he left our bags and pulled me with him into the plane. He then found our seats and made me sit with him as he let out a great sigh of relief. Reese. Please. Tell me what's going on. I pleaded with him. I seriously hate being kept in the dark. Look. Colleen. All you have to know for now is, it's not safe. We have to keep lookout. For all I know, he's still looking for us. He said. But wouldn't he just kill me? Since he has a strand of my hair with him, I asked honestly. He won't do it. He's after something and he needs you to achieve it. I just can't seem to point out what it is he is looking for. He said confidently. I feel like a tool. Reese. You don't know, don't think that he won't. He is a sick man after all. You told me he has a strand of hair of mine that he can kill me with any time. Were you lying to me? I asked him. He stared at me in disbelief. No. I wouldn't lie about something like that. Why would you? He cut himself short as if remembering something. Why would I? What, Reese? What is it you're not telling me? I questioned him. He shook his head as he turned to me, looking me in the eyes, his face turning serious. Listen to me. And listen to me good. Colleen, you absolutely cannot afford to doubt anything I say, no matter how much you hate me or can't believe me. Don't doubt me, just trust me. Understand, he said. I nodded simply. But deep down, I know it can't be. I've lost my will to trust him. I don't know why, but I can't. He can hurt me any time. He can do anything. I don't know if what he told me was the truth. Or why we're leaving so dangerously. I honestly want to trust and to forgive him, but a part of me refuses to. And I don't know why. I understand. I lied. He nodded and looked away as he made a phone call. My mind began to drift away. Excuse me. He excused himself. Soon he came back with a relieved face and the flight began and we were off. All I seemed to think about was, why the hell all of this was happening? The flight was 2 hours long and when we had finally reached, I couldn't have been much happier. We got off and headed out of the airport. I guess I'm back. I'm home. Soon Reese grabbed my hand and walked in a total opposite direction. Reese. What are you? He cut me off. Keep your head low and keep close. He's right there. I turned slightly only to see the man I hated and still hate, standing with a smirk. My father. I turned to look at him, and suddenly a smile etched its way on his face. He glanced my way. Before he chuckled to himself, Reese. I whispered his name. He sideways glanced at me before muttering "What?" "He can see us. He's watching us," I said. Reese looked back and his eyes widened. "Well, shit," he growled. "Walk with me and don't look back. Just follow me," he said as he walked towards a bus stop. We boarded a bus and sat at the very back. Soon the bus began moving and I glanced outside the window. There he was on the sidewalk with a sinister smile on his face. I shivered in fear and disgust. "Okay, we're headed home. When we get home, you're going to your mom." "I'm headed to my house," he said, which hit a nerve. "Why can't I come with you? Is it because you're going to be with your mistress?" I said. I don't know why, but I did. Reese let out a sigh of frustration. "I'm not going to see any mistress, and as for Lillian, I haven't even touched the darned girl," he said. "Liar, liar, you're lying, you did, I felt it," I said to him. "How does he have the guts to lie through his teeth? Can you shut up?" "Colleen, no. I'm not lying. That burning sensation that you felt, that was just something your expletive of a father gave you to drink. To make you think I mated with someone else, and just as much as it hurt and burnt you, it did the same to me," he said. That actually shut me up. I groaned in stupidity. How can I doubt the person who's trying their hardest to protect me and my child? We rode the bus in silence, neither of us speaking to each other. Reese kept a distance away from me, probably angry at my accusation. But you can't blame me. He broke my trust the first time, didn't he? The bus came to a stop and we hopped off only to come face to face with the man we've been running away from for that hour. Well. It sounded so not dramatic. "Reese, I thought you were smarter than that." My father spoke. Reese let out a frustrated groan and glared at him. "What the hell do you want from me?" what he yelled in anger. I watched as his eyes turned dark, as his wolf tried making an appearance. "No, Reese. It's your fault now. I gave you simple instructions, but rather you can't seem to follow. Now I guess I'll have to think of something else. Such a hassle," he said. He sounded like a child. A child looking for something fun to erase his boredom. "Why are you doing this time?" It was I who spoke, my voice shaky as the question came out. He turned to me, a smile taking over his face. "Colleen, baby girl, how are you? Did you miss me?" "I know I did you," he cooed. "What was I, a baby? Answer the question. Please," I said to him. He huffed out a breath and turned to me. "What's the use of being able to do anything and being bored?" He thought for a moment. I've got it." He smiled. Reese looked at me, and back at my father looking ready to pounce. But he held back for my sake. "It's simple, really. Every day from midnight to dawn, you will need life energy from the one you call mate," he said to me. I looked at him confused. "Life energy? What crap are you going on about?" Reese yelled. "Well, why don't I just explain it simply for you? I've already planted a demon inside her. A very nasty one, if I may say so myself. And she needs to pull life energy from you for every 30 minutes until dawn, and every day until I think I've had enough and I feel like killing you," he said. Reese growled in anger and got ready to pounce on him, when a pain hit me hard. I fell to the ground in pain. Reese stopped and turned to me abruptly, and in less than 2 seconds he was by my side. "What's happening to her?" he demanded from my father. "Oh. The curse has already begun." He smiled cunningly. "How do I make it stop? How do I make her pain stop? Tell me." "Please," Reese asked desperately, almost helplessly. "Simple. Mating," he said. "Mating. I can't mate with her." "She's pregnant," Reese yelled frantically. "Not necessarily mating. It's the simple mating mark. She needs to mark you every night till dawn, and of course you'll need time to rejuvenate. Otherwise, you'll simply die," he said. My insides felt like they were ripping apart. Reese pulled me closer to him until my face was right by his neck. "Bite me," he said, and that's exactly what I did. I bit him. Reese moaned in pain as I bit harder. It was getting hard to control myself. After a couple of minutes, I finally let him go. Panting heavily, Reese turned pale. His eyes lost their color. He looked at me and stood up, and we faced my cunning. Smiling father. Well, that's not what I was expecting, he said with a wide grin. Reese immediately growled towards him, but his growl sounded faint as he fell down to his knees. This must be the after effect of the bite. What's happened to him? Why is he feeling so weak? I questioned in haste. My father looked my way with a smile. I've already explained, Colleen, baby girl. Your bite is pulling life energy out of him, and if he doesn't get a good rest, he's going to diminish into an empty vessel. Why are you doing all this? Why, I shouted. There has to be a more reason to why you're hurting me and the people I love. What have I done wrong? I questioned him, as tears rolled out of my eyes. No matter how hard I tried to keep them in. Stupid hormones. Ah. Don't shed those fake tears for nothing. Just like everyone has their own dark past. I have mine too. And that's for me to know and for you to never, ever find out, he said, until a smile took over his face. Unless you want to. The wind blew into my face as I heard his words. I don't understand. I said to him, I have a brilliant idea. If you find out the mystery about my dark past, the curse I have put upon you will be lifted. But until then, suffer. He laughed childishly. At least give me a clue as to where I must search. I pleaded with him. I don't want to be the reason Reese is going to die. Very well then. Here's a clue. Deep within the pack's grounds, a journal lies, with an anonymous scribe. Seek it well and read it good, for the information within will be unused, he said. I looked at him utterly confused. You might want to get a room for the night, 'cause it will be filled with bites, he said as he vanished into the air. I helped Reese's weak form and helped him to my house. We walked inside as I heard Mom's faint voice from her bedroom. Colleen, she called out to me. It felt absolutely heartwarming to hear my name from her timid lips. I smiled and dropped Reese on the couch. As I walked to Mom's room, Mom, I said with tears at the corner of my eyes. She looked at me with soft eyes and a happy smile. Baby, you're back now. Tears were rolling out of her eyes like the Victoria Falls. She pulled me into a warm embrace and held me so close as if her life depended on it. I missed you, I said to her honestly. She smiled and wiped the tears from under her eyes. Soon, footsteps thumped through the hallway. Mom's door opened and Daniel stood with a wide smile. You came back, he yelled in joy. You'd honestly think he was one of my girlfriends. Yeah, I'm back, I reassured him. And honestly, I hope that was for good. I mean, with my psychotic father playing games, I can't really say things are going to get better from here on. A groan echoed from the living room. I chuckled to myself. But I can't really blame him. He's going to suffer a lot from now, especially since the curse has begun. Tonight is going to be a long night. Tired, I yawned and turned my eyes. Mom. I met Dad, I said, capturing both her and Daniel's attention. She looked shocked, surprised but mostly worried. What did he do? She asked, sensing some discomfort in my tone of voice. Well, he placed a curse on us. I put on a tight smile. Her eyes widened at my words. What? What kind of curse? This time it was Daniel who spoke. Taking a deep breath, I explained the events that happened. Mom looked like she was about to cry, and Daniel, more like he wanted to stop my father. What are you going to do? He questioned me. I don't know. I guess I need to find more about what happened to him. I need to get some rest. I'm feeling tired. I think I'm going to call it a night. I answered them, when it was actually midnight. They nodded as I retired to my comfortable warm bed. I could hear Reese snore a little from the living room. Werewolf hearing. I smiled and turned to my side, but I couldn't help but wonder if this became too much for him. Would he abandon me? Would he leave me to die? Reese's point of view, a scream woke me up. I suddenly fell off the couch I was sleeping on and hit the ground with a loud thump. And it was painful, might I add. Another scream echoed through the house as my chest constricted and my heartstrings pulled. Colleen. That's the only thing that was going through my mind. I followed her scent to a shut door. I opened it in a rush and watched her writhe in pain. She laid down in a crouching position, and it was painful to see that. I tried to quickly make my way to her side, but she held up her hand, stopping me in my tracks. "No," she muttered in pain. A confused look took over my face as a groan escaped my lips. "What the hell do you mean by no? Are you going insane or what?" I yelled at her, my anger starting to surface. I quickly made my way to her side and sat beside her on the bed. She tried pushing me away, but I held her wrists, bringing her to face my neck. "You haven't rested. You haven't gotten back your life energy. You're going to die. I won't do it," she said. Her voice strained as pain hit her. My heart clenched more. Hurting. My mate was in pain. "Listen to me, Colleen." "Okay, I'm fine. See, I'm not pale anymore. I feel great. Now please just do as you're told and bite me." I encouraged her with a lie. I wasn't feeling okay. I felt like an empty vessel. But that didn't matter. What matters is her, and only her. Stubbornly, she pushed away, as tears began making their way out of her eyes. "No," she muttered yet again. "Your scent is fading." She tried to excuse. "Colleen, listen to me. You're carrying our baby inside of you. And right now, that should be your first priority. Okay, don't worry about me. I'll be okay. Look, I promise. Just please. I can't stand seeing you in pain. Please," I pleaded with her. She looked me in the eyes. "You promise?" she asked in a whisper as she sniffled. "Yes. Yes. I promise. Now please." And she did, taking her pain away. A sigh of relief washed over me. Her canines elongated into my neck, as I could feel myself get weaker. But that's okay. She's feeling okay, and she isn't in pain anymore. She bit harder as I groaned. This was truly painful. But it didn't matter. As long as she and our baby were fine. Even my life didn't matter. Slowly, she pulled away from me. My body felt as if I lost all my bones and I was turned into a puddle of slime. She looked me in the eyes, looking for a sign of something. But I looked at her as normal as I could. She wiped the tears under her eyes and stared at me for a moment. "Please rest," she whispered. And I smiled, nodding at her. I was going to rest, and that was not even optional. I fell silent on the bed, and my eyes automatically closed and darkness engulfed my weak, helpless and defenseless body. And that truly scared me. Colleen's point of view. I have to do it. I have to. I can feel him fading. His scent is fading. His breathing is shallow. My mate was dying, and I couldn't stomach the fact that it was I who was taking him away from the world. I have to find anything and everything I can about my father, even if it means risking my life a bit. A kick in my stomach made me gasp in shock. Soon Reese was up again, with worry on his face. "What's the matter? Is it happening again?" A smile took over my face as I watched Reese's pale face furrow in confusion. "He kicked," I said to him. Even more confusion clouded his face. "Who kicked? What is it, Colleen? Is something happening to you?" he questioned. Concern laced in his voice. "Reese, the baby kicked." I felt him kick me. I laughed in joy. A smile broke on his face. I gasped again as I felt him kick. I giggled and Reese looked so happy. "Can I feel?" he questioned. I nodded, lifting my shirt and putting his hand over my tummy. He rubbed it slowly as a kick came in again. Reese smiled and continued to rub. "I can't wait to see you. I can't wait to meet you. I can't wait to hold you. I can't wait to play with you. I can't wait to love you," he said as he placed a kiss on my cheek. A tear rolled out my eye. I quickly wiped it away and put a smile on my face. "And I'm sure the baby can't wait to meet his or her father," I whispered, and we sat in that position. I wish everything would be like this forever and always. The sun's rays shone in my face. I turned to face the other way, only to come face to face with Reese's sleeping form. His chest heaved up lightly as he breathed slowly. His face was beginning to retain color and was not as pale as it was last night. I let out a sigh and smiled as I lightly ran my fingers through his hair. He groaned, pulling me closer, and that's when the baby decided to do a flip in my stomach. I gasped and smiled. I guess she's going to be a gymnast. I got out of Reese's arms and made my way to the bathroom. I looked at my face in the mirror, and let me tell you, I looked like I woke up from the dead. Sighing yet again, I brushed my teeth and took a hot shower. My body ached and my feet ached. My belly had grown a lot, and it looked like I was almost 5 to 6 months pregnant. I wrapped a towel around myself and walked out the bathroom towards my closet. Reese sat cross-legged on my bed as he rubbed his eyes. I guess he had just woken up. "Good morning," I greeted. A wide smile took over his face as he spoke in his husky morning voice that sent shivers down my spine. "Colleen, your mom booked an appointment to go see a doctor today. Late in the afternoon," he informed me. I smiled and nodded. "Yeah. Okay. I wonder what we're gonna have," I said to him while biting my bottom lip. His eyebrows furrowed. "Well, in my opinion, I think it will be a girl," he said. Typical boy answer. I laughed at his statement. "Whatever you wish," I said with a quiet hopefully in the end. He got up and strolled to the bathroom. I dressed once the bathroom door was closed and brushed my thick hair. Soon I walked down only to be attracted to the smell of eggs in the morning with a sweet aroma of toast and coffee. I came into view with the kitchen. There, Daniel was standing as he prepared breakfast. "Wow. My brother. A cook. Morning," I said as I went to go grab a cup of coffee, only to be hit with the spatula my brother was using for the pancake batter. What I questioned him. He looked at me with a disappointed look. "Don't you know pregnant women aren't allowed to drink caffeine?" he said. I shrugged my shoulder. "Good thing Mom made me go book an appointment," he muttered as I rolled my eyes. "Why the hell are you here anyways? I thought you were going to leave." I asked him. He shook his head. "Well, you see, I was gonna leave after you had returned. But then I had caught a whiff of my maid in this pack, so I'm looking for her," he said, catching my attention. "Daniel. You dog, how could you not tell me this?" I questioned the fool. He put his hand on his heart. "Dog, seriously, I know I am literally one. Don't rub it in my face," he said, making me laugh. Soon Reese came down, a smile on his face. "Why are you laughing, and why does Daniel have a drama queen act on his face?" he asked, making me smile widely. He kissed my cheek as a blush began taking over my face. "Daniel got a whiff of his mate and hasn't bothered to tell me," I said with a serious face. Reese rubbed my forehead as I swatted his hand away. "I don't need you getting creases on your face from all the seriousness," he joked. I simply huffed as Daniel joined in on the laughter. I rolled my eyes as I continued to eat. I could not help but let my mind wander to the appointment later this afternoon. The clock ticked, and the place felt stuffy. Waiting in anticipation for the one person who could help. People passed by and people sat impatiently. Mr. and Mrs. Gold, I heard Reese's surname being called. Since when was I Mrs. Gold? We got up and headed towards the room. There in a chair sat a woman with a smile spread across her gentle face. "Welcome, Mrs. Daniels. Alpha. I'm Dr. Caden and I will be your gynecologist for the rest of your pregnancy." I smiled tightly and walked across the room. Reese sat beside the bed as Dr. Caden instructed me to lie down. I relaxed comfortably on the uncomfortable bed as she lifted my shirt over my belly. Grabbing some cold gel, she squirted it on my tummy before spreading the cold gel over my warm tummy. She then began an ultrasound. "Oh, look. There's your baby," she squealed in excitement. I looked at the screen and, to be honest, my eyes filled with tears. That was mine. That was my baby. The baby I was going to carry for the next 2 months. My baby. I grabbed onto Reese's shoulder as a smile took over his face. He was just as happy as I was. But soon, a serious expression overcame her face as she got closer to the screen. Wiping away her smile, she turned to us, clearing her throat. "There's a problem with this pregnancy," she said. Reese's smile dropped as my hold on him got tighter. "Nothing is going to happen. Nothing," I muttered in my mind. Reese glanced towards me and then the doctor. What's wrong? He questioned. Voice turned dark. This pregnancy is very risky to carry out. Alpha, if the Luna gives birth, there is a chance she could die, or she could give birth to a stillborn child. On top of that, her placenta isn't right. So I think this pregnancy should be terminated. She said. I'm sorry. She added. No, sorry, could stop the tears from rolling out of my eyes. Why was this happening? Is there anything anything we can do to continue the pregnancy? Reese said desperately. The doctor shook her head in denial. I'm sorry. But there is a small chance both mother and child will be fine. She said. I'll leave you alone to decide. She says as she stood up and walked off. I looked at Reese as he stared at the ground in a hard glare. Reese, I began, but he cut me off. Not now, Colleen. I'm really not in the greatest of moods, and don't you dare try and blame yourself for something you can't control. He said in a hard tone. Give the baby up. He said, making me freeze. What? I whispered in shock. He didn't. He wouldn't. Terminate the pregnancy, Colleen. He said. I looked at him like he was insane. No. I denied. Don't do this, Colleen. Don't carry it out. Don't allow me to see my son or daughter born dead, he yelled in anger. I refuse, Reese. No, I don't want to give up that chance of my baby going to live. As risky as this pregnancy is, I'm not going to rob my child of that little chance of life, I said as tears rolled out of my eyes. Reese walked up to me and wiped my tears away. I know you want the baby. But please, Colleen, don't do this to me. Please. We can always try for another one. But please don't carry this out. What are you afraid of? I questioned him with narrowed eyes. He kept silent and looked away. I grabbed his face and made him face me, looking directly in my eyes. Tell me, Reese. What are you afraid of? I asked yet again. I'm afraid of being broken again. Colleen, I'm afraid. He pulled back. I need some air, he said as he walked out. I stared into space. What happened to Reese? What happened before? Why is this pregnancy so important? So hurtful. And that he'd do anything to have it perfect. I felt a kick on my tummy and I smiled. I wasn't giving up my baby. I was going to have it, and he or she was going to get a chance of life, even if I wasn't going to be in it. I sat patiently on the couch at home as I awaited Reese's arrival. I hadn't seen him since the news was directed to us. He seemed awfully disturbed. I felt my baby move. She or he seems really energetic. I chuckled at the situation and got up, walking towards the kitchen, looking for my chocolate. I looked high and low, and let me tell you, it felt as if I was going to cry any moment. My beloved chocolate. Mom, I yelled from the kitchen. Yes, honey, she questioned a bit softly. Do you know where my slabs of chocolate are? I questioned her in agitation. It's in the top cupboard. Why? She questioned. I smiled and opened the cupboard. Nothing really. Just wondering. Wondering if I could grab a slab or two. I saw the chocolate stacked up. Grinning like a fool, I reached for it, only to notice my size. Why do I feel so short? I looked for a stool, but nothing came to mind. Grabbing a bar stool. I climbed on it carefully, getting my balance. I reached for the chocolate, only to feel someone pushed me. Shoot. My baby. I made a sharp turn as I hit the ground, falling on my back. The bar stool falling. The pain in my back was unbearable as tears streamed down my face. Soon Daniel came running into the kitchen, a horrified look on his face. He came by me and lifted me up bridal style. I'm taking you to the hospital, he said in a panicked tone. Daniel. I'm fine, really. I fell on my back. Nothing's wrong. I'm okay, I reassured him as I wiped away my tears. Reese isn't gonna like to know you fell. What the heck were you thinking? You could have endangered yourself and the child. He looked at me with angered eyes. I'm sorry. I just got caught up in the moment. But I didn't just fall. I felt someone push me. I tried to reason with him. He looked at me like I had grown insane. That fall must have messed up your head. Come on, Colleen, was there some ghost or something? Soon the door opened and shut, and Reese's scent filled the room. I clutched onto Daniel's sleeve and looked at him with a pleading look. Please don't mention any of this to Reese, I asked him. He deserves to know what happened, I cut him off. Please, Daniel, I said to him. He let out a sigh as Reese walked in the living room. Hi, I greeted shyly. He looked at me with a sorry look. Daniel walked away and Reese came close to me, sitting right beside me. Hey. Look, Colleen. I know I wasn't the best at that moment. But just know I'm sorry for the way I reacted at the doctor and I'm ready for this. Ready with my decision. Right now I wanted to cry. I looked him in the eye. And hugged him. My baby bump keeping a distance between us. I held his cheek as I kissed him passionately. I can't believe. The Reese Gold actually apologized. I laughed a little as I pulled away. Come on. Let's go. I'm sure you must be tired. Let's take a little nap, he said with a silly grin, as he lifted me bridal style heading to my bedroom. You know it's going to start again tonight, I reminded him. All he did was briefly nod. I smiled as I slept and he laid right beside me. Colleen. Why is your dress torn? He questioned as he showed me the ripped part of the clothing. The fall. Shoot. It's nothing. I probably didn't see where I was walking and perhaps it got caught somewhere and ripped. I made an excuse. Guilt washed over me, knowing I practically lied to my maid about something that could have been a danger to me and his child. Reese looked at me briefly, before nodding, and he began rubbing my feet. To say it felt good was an understatement. It was amazing. I relaxed briefly and closed my eyes. Soon I felt tired and was beginning to pass out. I felt the bed dip beside me, as a kiss was placed on my forehead. I love you. Those were the words enough to make me freeze. Reese. Loved me, unknown point of view. I watched carefully as the door opened, and he stepped out. My mate. Reese. I'm headed out. I'll be back a bit later, he said. I hid in the bush as I watched his beautiful body walk out onto the streets. Daniel was his name. So sweet. So nice. So mine. He looked around for a brief moment as he caught my scent, but slouched when he couldn't see me. I'm afraid to show myself. I'm afraid he'll reject me.